And so I exposed this ritual castle in southern Belgium. And at first, this was in 1991, and a number of years transpired, and it was like I was a voice in the wilderness and nobody had heard. But eventually it did get heard. And what happened is in Belgium, the Belgian government was toppled. They had big protests in Brussels a couple times where there were over 500,000 Belgians protesting their government. And the reason why is because there was a big scandal that broke loose where people had discovered that there were satanic covens in their government, the government of Belgium, and that there was pedophilia going on. And this got connected in, and people then were able to connect what was going on and some of the people back to this castle that I had exposed. And so Interpol, due to public pressure, sent somebody here in the United States to my house to interview me to find out information about the ritual murders that went on in this castle. Well, this was a very strange way that this FBI agent who was representing Interpol, it was very strange the way he approached this murder investigation. I would just throw out to the listener right now, if you were an FBI agent or a policeman and you were investigating a murder, how would you approach doing it? And then compare that with what happened in this case. The day he arrived at my house, and I was at that time living with friends, I was upstairs in my study on the computer working on one of my books on the Illuminati, and something told me, my sixth sense, or call it the Spirit of God, something told me, you ought to go downstairs right now. And when I went downstairs, Eric, who was the head of the house, my friend, he looked at me and he said, there's an FBI agent in the bathroom. And he's here to ask you questions, but he's been trying to get me to throw you out. And he's been asking me why I'm putting up with you living with us, and he's been trying to convince me to throw you out. So I knew from the start that this was a sham investigation, because the FBI agent that came to investigate these murders is trying to turn my friends against me. So he comes out of the bathroom and he starts asking me questions about the castle, and I was friendly with him, but I basically what ended up happening is I told him that in this investigation he was in over his head, and I was not about to contact my eyewitnesses for him, and I didn't trust anything of what he was doing. And at one point then he pretended like he had never seen my books, and he grabbed a couple of my mind control books and he started flipping through it, and he came to a page and he said, oh, you got a mistake here. What do you make of that? As if he just randomly found that mistake on that page. And I said, yeah, I wrote those books and I edited them myself, and you're right, there are errors in there, and I'm responsible. Very strange way to investigate a murder. So here we had something very similar to the Kennedy assassination. And so in order to keep the lid on this scandal, the Illuminati had to kill something in the neighborhood of 120 eyewitnesses over there in Belgium. There's a long list of eyewitnesses, very similar to the JFK assassination, which just mysteriously died. I would encourage anyone who has doubts about the hidden hand, that events are manipulated. I would encourage them to start with the JFK assassination, and then once they see how events were manipulated there, then you can progress to 9/11, and these blatant shows of Illuminati power that were meant to traumatize us can also be flipped for good as a way for the novice to introduce himself to the fact that events are being controlled and manipulated.
Fritz Springmeier is our guest. We've kept him up late at night. I have Theodore, Brian, Joe, Randy, Jeff, and Bryce holding from earlier before Fritz even joined us. Aaron Dykes is going to come in for a few hours. Then we've got Paul Watson. I'll be back with Gerald Salente and others. If you believe in what we're doing and you want to see more of this information, alternative information brought forward to understand our world, donate to the InfoWars Money Bomb, InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com, or 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. We got a few more folks who are stumbling around, been up all day to take your donation so we can hire a second string who will become first string, because we've got like 4 people and me doing the nightly news every night. I'm up here till like 10 o'clock every night now. On top of the radio, we want to hire another group so that we can like actually not go completely insane, busting our butts here. If you donate to us, InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com. I want to thank all of you that have donated. I want to go to phone calls for all the folks that are holding, and then we'll go to break and come back with Aaron Dykes. You can punch out now, Fritz Springmeier, or you can stay with us for another 15 minutes and take these calls. It's your decision, Fritz. What do you want to do?
I'll take the calls. Let's roll.
These calls will be all over the map, and then we'll end there, come for like 5 hours. I'll go take a nap so I'm not completely punch drunk. And then I'll come back and go right through 2 o'clock tomorrow, 27-hour transmission. Aaron Dykes coming up. But Fritz, any other things, because I've been steering the conversation here to some extent, any other points you want to make before we go to calls?
Oh, we've covered a lot of good points. Let's take the calls.
All right. Now, folks, I just want to add, we are one of the only sellers of Bloodlines of the Illuminati, a book that I read 10 years ago, and a lot of it I couldn't document, doing more research. So much of it has been proven. It really is mind-blowing. This book is now sold out everywhere. The reprinting has started now. If you want to order it, it'll take a few weeks to get it to you because it's being printed now. Infowars.com is the place to get it. And as a side issue, Fritz, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but go ahead.
Illuminati Castle I was talking about, there's 3 pictures of that Illuminati Castle in the Bloodlines book.
I was about to say, I'm somewhat of a novice historian myself, and I noticed that that you've actually got that in here. In fact, I forget, what page is that on, Fritz?
Well, this at the very start, and then when you go to the Rockefeller family, and then there's I don't know where the third one is, but the castle.
What was going on with Marilyn Monroe and mind control? Speak to that, because you've got that here at the very beginning.
Say again.
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe. She was what's called a presidential model. They, in their need to control everything, they have sexual kittens that, as the president travels around, if he needs sex, they supply him with sexual kittens. It makes it easier for the Secret Service and NSA and CIA to control things if they know who the president's having sex with.
Exactly. Who was Anton LaVey in all of this?
Well, Anton LaVey was, as you know, the head of the Church of Satan. In fact, his son contacted me while I was in prison. His son hated his father. His son was appreciative of the information that I had written exposing Satanism. So I thought that was interesting. Oh,
really? Tell us what his son said to you.
He just said he appreciated what I had written, and that he hated his father because of the abusive satanic things that his father had done, and that he was in recovery, trying to recover from the abuse that he had suffered.
Good.
Anton LaVey was a programmer. As you know, he's died. A lot of people thought he was just a big joke because he had.
No, the word is he was CIA and above that.
Oh, I'm sure he was connected in several ways. And his sidekick, what was it, Michael
Aquino.
Yeah, was
Temple
right
of Set, Pentagon.
Yeah. So, for a while they were together in the Church of Satan until Michael Aquino split off. Yeah, we were going somewhere. We were gonna have the listeners ask their questions.
Yeah, it's just there's so much, Fritz. You know, that's the thing is that you just have incredible research, and having you here with us now is just amazing. We'll go to the phone calls. It's just that the final point I want to make before we go to calls, then let you go, and then have Aaron Dykes come here so I can go lay down on the couch and get a few hours sleep, is that people think, oh, you talked about this earlier in the week, they think they're on the winning team joining this, but they destroy their own. I mean, there's no reason when you know the game to join this predatory system. Can you speak to that briefly?
Yes, I spent quite a few years, approximately 10 years, working with people that had been members of the Illuminati over the years. Because when I first got started, I didn't know anything about the mind control or how to break it. And I was learning through the School of Hard Knocks, trying to help people escape. And I can categorically say across the board, it is a nightmare to be a member in the Illuminati. They traumatize and torture their own people. And the mind control, you can read about the mind control in some of my books. And it's just horrific. It's way beyond your worst imagination. So that, you know, like you said last time, you don't want to make a deal with the devil. He pays in counterfeit bills, and once he owns your soul, he's just going to torture you. It's not the fun and games that people think it is.
What about rock and roll? You know, I've read the biographies of a lot of famous rockers and famous blues people. I mean, it's not like some Christian view, the devil's involved. These people believe they've sold out to the devil, and they talk about it. I mean, there's something going on this planet.
Yes, and then this rock and roll music, they do satanic rituals over all of the stuff that's put out, and all of the rock and roll across the board has mind control triggers in it, so it's being used for the Illuminati's mind control. Yeah, it's the whole thing's exceptionally wicked, and you can even track the growth and development of the whole industry and see how the Illuminati created it.
Exceptionally wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, going about continually inventing new forms of wickedness. All right, we'll take these calls, Fritz.